guest today is Dr. Neal King, the author of a book called Trauma is a Thief. Well, thank you for coming over and talking with us today. And I guess my first question is, what is your definition of trauma?
Well, thanks for the invitation. So my definition of trauma, and trauma is vast and it takes many, many forms. But my definition is that it's a fundamental insult to the person who experiences it.
And what does trauma steal?
Trauma can steal so much. In my instance, I feel like it stole my innocence. It stole my opportunity to have a normal developmental trajectory, both psychosocially and emotionally. Trauma is a very clever thief. It steals very broadly. My father was a career Navy officer. My older brother was a career Navy officer.
And you moved around a lot.
Oh, a lot, yeah.
What was that like for you growing up at different ages? You went to different schools, there were different groups. How did you blend in, survive, stand out? What was your plan?
Well, for me, it was my normal. I didn't know anything else. And so it was absolutely normal. And I've carried it through into my adult life that, you would settle in, you'd get the group of friends, and then off you go, and you're moving across the country and you start all over again.
Why don't we just cut to the chase? Tell us your backstory.
So the essence of my life trauma, my early trauma, was being abandoned by my parents when I was 3 or 4. My mother was allegedly having an affair with somebody else. My father was out of the country with the Navy. We 3 kids, my sister was was an infant, were turned over to juvenile authorities if they had to find my father, bring him back from the Navy. So right there, I learned not to trust, or I learned that trust was very dangerous in some ways. What followed over years is everybody in my family, with the exception of me, were alcoholics. My father sexually, physically abused us, my brother and myself. It was a very angry household. So that's the nature of the trauma. It was reinforced over years, again, because of the military reality captive to the family.
How did your resilience kick in so that you can actually function when you left the house?
I thought a lot about this and I write about this. Some people have this fight gene, which I had. Other people have this get defeated gene, which I think my sister suffered from. And other people have this kind of imitate the abuser gene. I fought escaping internally and externally. I had a good antenna for good people. Something intuitively said to me, these are the people I want to be associated with. I fought my father, literally fought my father. I fought him off, fought with him. So, I mean, I think it's really qualities of self. But again, as a child, that was my reality. I didn't know anything else.
How did you balance that? And you came out and you went to college and you created a life for yourself and you specialized during the AIDS epidemic. How did you were able to listen to these stories and then go into your own life?
So, fortunately, timing wise, when AIDS hit, had just finished graduate school. And during the process of graduate school, I did an enormous amount of my own work in integrating the reality of my trauma. I hadn't done that before my early adulthood, my early 30s. I had help with
Could you
therapists.
explain what you mean by that?
How did I deal with it? I had the role in the family of being the hero. I put on the everything is wonderful mask. I went out into the world. I was a good student. I was popular. I had a lot of friends. I played a couple sports. And so that allowed the world to say, oh, this family's got to be okay. And look at this kid's happy and he's doing well. But the price I paid was behind the mask, there was this suffering child who had no idea what had happened to him, really, had not understood it, had not had a chance to talk about it. The first person I really confided in, I went to a Catholic men's college, was a monk who was a psychologist, the first psychologist I knew. And he took my confidence to imply that that he should have sex with me. So it was an absolute betrayal and a further deepening of my
Wow.
inability to trust older men. Fortunately, my time in graduate school corresponded with my readiness to to integrate those two pieces that had been split apart. And I was fortunate that I had a number of psychotherapists, a hypnotherapist, people who helped me. So that by the time the AIDS crisis hit, just about the time I finished graduate school, I was available. But I do think that my prior experience, my own experience with trauma, um, allowed me to be more present for people who were struggling with the AIDS crisis.
But after you were there for these people, either professionally or because they were friends, how did you deal with that so that you can get up the next morning and help other people and listen to their problems and help guide them?
Yeah, again, I think the experience of compartmentalizing as a young person came in very handy. So you somehow find it within you uh, to pay attention to each of the different parts of your life.
I admire the fact that you went through all of this and you were able to meet somebody to be significant in your life, and it's a long healthy relationship, and it's almost like you climbed out of that rabbit hole, and now I guess your mission is what's in the future for you? What's your mission?
Yes, I've been with my partner Peter for nearly 30 years. We have a really wonderful relationship. I couldn't have been receptive to meeting him without all of the work I did. And I used the analogy that you did, climbing out, crawling out from underneath all of the rubble, and watching people die left and right. I mean, my brother drank himself to death at 47. That's how he responded to the family trauma. So, in terms of the future, I'm very much focused in the present, actually. I say toward the end of the book, I tend the roses. I have my own style of meditation. I love reading fiction. This book is part catharsis, but also part attempting to articulate for myself and for others who didn't survive and didn't have the voice and didn't have the tools, what it was like to. I'm one example. I'm not. Everybody's experience is different. To experience that trauma, to be battered by it through so many years and parts of one's life, and then to survive it, and to be able to, but to in spite of it, to have a full life.
Anyway, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you
I
very
would enjoy
much.
that. I appreciate the conversation. Thank you, Stewart, very much for the invitation.